Welcome to Potato Reads Reddit. I am Potato, and today we have an OP whose wife wants OP's cousin to give back a $50,000 winning lottery ticket that was given to the cousin as a gift. Alright guys, we'd like to ask you to hit that like and subscribe button and that notification bell as well if you feel like it. It is a huge help to the channel if you could, and we're going to get right into the stories today. And our first story today is from No Minimum 7226. Am I the asshole for giving my cousin $50,000 against my wife's wishes? Had a belated Christmas gathering last week with my extended family. The custom for this event is that we exchange stocking stuffers, nothing over $10. Ever since we've had this gathering, I've always bought scratch-off lottery tickets for all the adults. As you would expect, they are almost always trash, but every year we have a few hit for extra tickets, $2, $5, even $10. One year my uncle's ticket hit for $50 and everyone went crazy. It's always a good time. So this year my 23-year-old cousin goes nuts. He holds his ticket up and claims that he just hit it for the max jackpot, $50,000. Everyone rushes over, a couple of my uncles verify, yep, this kid just won $50K. I was freaking elated. I scooped him up in a big bear hug and said, "Merry Christmas, you lucky a-hole." He was screaming and his mom was actually in tears and whole room was excited. It was literally one of the top 10 experiences of my life. I feel my phone vibrate in my pocket and I pull it out to see my wife has sent me a text message that says, "Come out to the car." I go outside and can tell by her body language that she is angry. She told me there is no way we are giving my cousin $50,000, then starts fussing at me about buying the lotto tickets to begin with. Two things to explain. I'm not saying that $50,000 isn't a lot of money, it's a ton. But I'm in my mid-40s. I have a 2-decade professional career. My wife is a stay-at-home mom by choice. We drive later model cars that are paid for. Our retirements and the kids' college accounts are fully funded. Our only debt is the house. I'm saying this to show while $50,000 would be nice to have, it's not life-changing money for us. My cousin, on the other hand, just graduated from college. His mom is single and was one of those fiercely independent women who refuse charity. She took on extra jobs to help him pay for school. He worked at least 2 jobs himself while going to school full-time and still made the dean's list. But he still had to take out loans. He landed a job, but he can't afford a car yet or to live close to the office, so he's looking at nearly a 2-hour commute. He's also saving for an engagement ring for his sweet girlfriend of 3 years. This money would literally change this kid's life, and frankly, I think it couldn't have gone to a better member of my family. I explained to her that we're not giving him $50,000. We gave him a ticket I spent $5 on. She's not buying, and she won't let it go. She is now demanding I go back in there and take the ticket back from him, saying maybe we'll give him some of it. We argue a little bit. I can't get her to explain why she wants this money so bad other than, it's ours and you're not giving it away. We fought all the way home and she hasn't spoken more than a couple of words to me since. So, am I the asshole? Well, OP, here's what I'm gonna say. I'm from a community and about, 5-10 years ago, something actually similar happened in my community and it tore a family apart. And there was all kinds of legal issues, and the ones who wanted to take the money back, take the ticket back, they're the ones who lost, and they wound up being absolute pariahs in our community. So I hope your wife has some kind of good explanation. So you're obviously not the asshole in this situation, right? The money is legally his. You gave it as a gift, and there's plenty of witnesses there to testify to that. So there's no way that you're going to win, or that your wife would win in that situation. So you're not the asshole, and your wife is being a major asshole on this. But I think that you should find out maybe there's some kind of debt or something you're unaware of, money problems that you're unaware of. So talk to your wife and find out what that's about. And I'd also like to hear what all of you guys that are listening have to say down in the comments below. And we're going to move on to some of the comments from the post. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. My wife did approve of my cousin being allowed to keep the winning ticket. She feels that it was marital asset and that she should have a say in what happens to the ticket. She says that I am an asshole for giving the ticket away without her consent. Based on the phone call I received later that night, her mother agrees with her. It's Only Forever says, not the asshole. Your wife wouldn't want the ticket if it were worth $0 or even the $50 your uncle won, would she? She wouldn't demand you go back in there and do some takesy-backsies for $0. Your wife is completely in the wrong. You are right, you have not given away $50,000. You gave him a gift that could have been worth $0 at the end of the day for a bit of a laugh, and the lucky SOD got lucky. I would just not talk to her either and tell her I'm very disappointed in this poor show of character and hope she sleeps it off. Besides, legally, there were witnesses who saw you give the ticket to him as a gift and saw him scratch it and subsequently win. Morally and legally, it's his money, not yours or hers. Cemetery Dweller 7719 says, this is a very good point. There's a room full of witnesses, possibly someone even recording, because holiday gathering pictures and recordings happens. That can attest that the ticket was given as a gift. No question, it was given to him. Mad Penguin 1 replies to that saying, agreed. You have a history of giving lottery tickets. You have witnesses that you gave these lottery tickets and witnesses that your cousin scratched off the winner. She will not win any lawsuit because it was a gift of a ticket that could be worth $0 or $50,000. Trying to take it back the money or ticket would blow up the family for nothing. I agree that you should speak with your cousin and assure him that it belongs to him, and say that if your wife contacts him, to let you know and to ignore her. I also suggest that you tell your cousin that the money is 100% his. Many people get badgered into giving up part of it to try to make peace. I hope your wife calms down, but it is crazy that she thinks you guys would still have any rights to that ticket, and worse, that it isn't coming from a place of desperate need, facing homelessness, etc. A big congratulations to your cousin. It sounds like fate was very kind. Edit to add, not the asshole. Creeves9 says, OP should send a text to his cousin telling him that watching him win $50,000 was one of the best experiences of his life, and that he hopes he spends it wisely, just in case his wife directly contacts the cousin about wanting the money back. This way everyone will know she's the greedy one, not the asshole. Lane's Ecosays says, not the asshole. Your wife is wrong. Like you said, you gave him a $5 ticket as a gift. You don't take gifts back when you realize they are worth more than you thought. It doesn't matter that you are older and more financially secure and your cousin is just starting out, although it is nice that it worked out that way. Sounds like you have a good relationship with your family. Do not let your wife shatter it. OP responded to that saying, my point in explaining my financial situation was to illustrate that my wife doesn't have any need for this money. If we were struggling, I would totally understand her frustration, but it wouldn't change the fact that legally it's not our ticket. Alright, that's it for the comments on that story, and we're going to move on to the next one, which is, am I the asshole for not replacing a delivery driver's shoes? This just happened a few hours ago, and I'm still seething with anger. I ordered pizza for delivery for dinner from a local place, a place my family orders from often. I got 2 pizzas for my family and waited for delivery. 25 minutes later, I went to greet the delivery driver at the door. I have 4 dogs that are free to poop in the yard, so I have a sign that tells people to keep off the grass. Especially considering it's been rainy and muddy the last few weeks, I never would have expected the delivery boy to walk through the grass. He did. Once he got to the door, he began complaining that he stepped in dog poop and that his new shoes were ruined. I looked at his shoes, and he indeed had dog poop on them. I shrugged and pointed to the sign that said to keep off the grass. I tried to hand him the cash and get the pizzas, but he refused. He told me I needed to pay for the shoes to be replaced as they were around $120. I laughed in his face. Thinking he must have been joking, I brushed it off and once again tried to get the pizzas. He didn't budge and told me that he was taking the pizzas back and would be back to get the money later. I was angry with what happened, but I made alternate dinner plans and let him leave. He pulled in again and demanded payment for the shoes, and I once again declined. My husband came to the door as well, on my side. I wasn't going to pay because the delivery driver was careless. I looked at his shoes, and he indeed had dog poop on them. I shrugged and pointed to the sign that said to keep off the grass. I tried to hand him the cash and get the pizzas, but he refused. He told me I needed to pay for the shoes to be replaced as they were around $120. I laughed in his face. Thinking he must have been joking, I brushed it off and once again tried to get the pizzas. He didn't budge and told me that he was taking the pizzas back and would be back to get the money later. I was angry with what happened. but I made alternate dinner plans and let him leave. He pulled in again and demanded payment for the shoes, and I once again declined. My husband came to the door as well, on my side. I wasn't going to pay because the delivery driver was careless. The driver clearly was not going to leave, after another hour and a half of arguing. I told him I would call the police if he didn't leave our front door. Now he's parked on the street, technically not on our property, and sitting there. It's been another hour. Police can't remove him since it's not our property, but I'm very uncomfortable. I told my family about the situation, and my brother-in-law told me I'm acting like a jerk. Am I the asshole for not paying? Edit. I haven't cleaned up the dog poo due to the constant rain and it being extremely cold outside. I have a walkway that's very large and lit up. The sign is lit up as well. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I might be the asshole because it's my dog's poop and I also laughed at the delivery driver multiple times. Okay, OP, I'm going to give you a judgment that's probably going to be a little bit controversial, especially after I know what some of the comments are going to say, but I'm going to go with everybody sucks here. So, on the one hand, yeah, the delivery driver sucks because there was a sign there that said don't walk on the lawn, and, he did in direct violation of the signage you had posted, and, it's really his fault for not looking down when he walked because, some yards have dog poo in them. Whether you like it or not. But you also kind of suck because, whether it's rainy or snowy, I live in Canada, so I know how miserable it is, and I've had dogs, and it doesn't matter how rainy or, snowy or cold it is outside, we always go out and pick up the dog poo. It sucks, but you have to do it. It's part of owning a dog. So I'm going to go with everybody sucks here. But I'd like to hear what all of you guys have to say about it in the comments down below, and we'll move on to some of the comments from the post. Wishing for Tomorrow says, not the asshole. You have a sign and he's an idiot. Besides, he could just wash them off. For God's sakes, they are shoes, not a Picasso. And if they are that freaking precious, perhaps he shouldn't be wearing them to deliver pizza. He's a moron. I hope your alternate dinner was delicious. Blue Rose 1197 replies to that saying, he shouldn't be wearing them while delivering, and certainly shouldn't be walking across a muddy yard. If you don't want your shoes to get dirty, you stay on the pavement. Ms. D. Reed replies saying, not the asshole and do not give in. Clearly this family has raised an entitled asshole. Mysterious Kodo replies to that saying, let me fix that for you. Clearly this family is a bunch of entitled assholes, seeing as how the owner has threatened to blacklist OP for not paying for the shoes. FunkLab replies saying, seeing as how the owner has threatened to blacklist OP for not paying for the shoes. This part was especially hilarious. Like, you think after refusing to deliver my food, attempting to con $120 out of me, and harassing me, I'm ever going to even consider patronizing your restaurant again? Lol? Cade Cunninghausen says, he can clean off his own shoes himself, so you're not the asshole for that, but you are the asshole for not cleaning up after your pets. Don't be so lazy. Edit. Imagine getting downvoted for telling someone to clean up after their pets. For freak's sakes, have some freaking pride, people. Bjorn Bjork says, everyone sucks here. You are not the asshole for not paying for the shoes, but you are the asshole for not walking your dogs. If it takes you 30 minutes to clean up from 4 dogs, then it has gone multiple days where they have been pooping in your yard without having the opportunity to poop on a walk. Don't get dogs if you don't plan to take them on walks daily. And that's it for the comments on that one, guys. We'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments down below, and we're going to move on to the next story, which was posted by Peaceful Adage. Am I the asshole for putting up pictures of spiders in my room to keep my arachnophobic cousins out? My 17 female, twin cousins, 8 male, have been staying with us for the last week while their parents are getting their house renovated. They're insanely mischievous. They keep running into my room, upending everything, throwing all my stuff everywhere, trying different passwords to unlock my desktop. If I latch the door, they'll bang at it until I let them in. Every time I or their parents yell at them, they get more amused. I discovered they're both arachnophobic, so I printed out massive spider posters for each of my walls, my floor, my cupboard, the side of my bed, and my door. Now they cry every time they see them and can't enter the room without looking at one. I removed the one from my door when their parents complained, but I'm keeping the ones in my room up to keep them out. Their parents are okay with that, but the boys keep begging me to get rid of them, and my own parents are telling me I'm being cruel. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. By making my cousins too scared to enter my room and giving them a big dose of trauma in doing so. OP, I don't think that you are the asshole at all, and I think that was very just desserts. I think that the adults in the situation weren't taking care of the problem, they weren't setting boundaries and maintaining them with these kids, and you decided to enforce your own boundaries in the only way you could figure out how, and a very creative way at that, so no, I don't think you're the asshole at all. But I'm going to leave it up to my listeners in the comments below. Love to hear from you guys, and I'm going to move on to some comments from the actual post. Klutzy Discussion 12.9 says, "Not the asshole, this is hilarious. Karmatic spiders, I'm dead." Pride of Cape Town responds to that saying, "I'd go a step further and tell them not to upend or move stuff because you've got spider nests everywhere." Evil Sir says, "Not the asshole, and this is glorious resolution." With a moo here responds to that saying, "As an arachnophobic, this is honestly genius. Kinda evil for sure, but considering it's your room, I tip my hat to you. Also, I don't know about your cousins, but for me, the sharper looking the spider, the creepier it is." Himanucha says, "Not the asshole. If the twins' parents won't teach them to stay out of your things, it looks like it falls up to you. Common courtesy says that if you're a guest in someone's home, you respect their property. I guarantee if those kids were rifling through your parents' things, they'd put a stop to it." Eardrinken replies to that saying, "It's so crazy to me that the parents won't teach their 8-year-olds to not be little terrors. I guess the only positive is that they're not losing their minds over the spider posters like most of those hands-off my kids can do no wrong idiots. But seriously, why have kids if you're not going to parent?" False Guest responds to that saying, "I am not surprised. Some people think their children are cute and funny regardless what they do. I had a friend whose kid was climbing on a bookshelf and their reaction was a half-assed say, 'Child, what are you doing? Don't make me throw something at you.' It was no surprise when their children developed a bad habit of throwing their toys at people." Extra Age 2505 says, "Not the asshole. They're messing up your room and trying to log into your computer. 8 years old is old enough to understand the concept of privacy, and they clearly don't care that they've been told off, which I blame on their parents, but that's a separate issue. You found a way to keep them out of your room, and you said that their parents are okay with it. If they'd stayed out of your room after being told to, there wouldn't be any spider pictures anywhere, so they only have themselves to blame. I'm not sure why your parents are against this, since it only affects your cousins if they go into your room." OP responds to that saying, "Oh, I know, even their 5-year-old sister is far calmer and better behaved than them. Luckily, she's way more chill about spiders, so she didn't end up as collateral damage." Alright, that's it for the comments on that story. We'd love to hear what you all have to say down in the comments below, and we'll move on to the next story, which was posted by Said How I Did. Am I the asshole because I, 29 male, told my sister to get over herself for the way she was acting about our baby nephew? My sisters Lori, 25 female, and Nat, 31 female, are not talking to each other at all, and it was because of a lying, cheating ex-boyfriend. Over a year and a half ago, Nat found out he was a serial cheater. Lori happened to be one of the girls he was cheating on her with, but neither had a clue. Nat never brought her ex around to meet the family, so no way to know it was him. Lori didn't break up with him, however, because she found out she was pregnant, so that's where the falling out came from. The dad, Nat's ex, was in an accident and passed away when Lori was 7 months pregnant. Oh dear. Nephew is 4 months old, but unfortunately Lori isn't doing well. She got diagnosed with PPD. She's been getting help, but then there was an accident and she's just not in the right place at the moment. I'm, 29 male, taking care of my nephew and have been for almost 2 months while my mom is there with Lori. Nat is staying with me for a few weeks and hasn't been fun. She doesn't interact with my nephew at all, which fair because he's a baby and he's my responsibility, but the way she acts, I don't like it. Sometimes she looks at him from his swing or crib and says he's so ugly she's glad she didn't reproduce with that piece of garbage, her ex. Dirty looks or comments, never wants to hold or have anything to do with him. He'll cry because he's hungry and she'll say, "Shut it up already," or "He whines worse than my ex's name." I told her to knock it off with the comments already towards a literal infant. She doesn't see the big deal since he's a baby and doesn't understand. then brings up again what his dad did to her and that this is on Lori for having a baby. Sure, whatever, she can feel however she wants about her sister, but I don't like the hostility towards my nephew. It's not even that she doesn't like babies. She's different with our baby cousins and our other niece. She just doesn't like him because of Lori and her ex. I've tried not letting it get to me, but I guess this morning was my breaking point. My nephew was crying because he was hungry and I just barely sat on the couch to feed him. I asked her if she could give me his burp cloth from the table because she was closer. Her comment was she's not touching anything he's touched. I was so frustrated, and I remember telling her to grow the freak up already and get over herself because this is an innocent baby. She got cheated on, that's terrible, but move on, and not everything is about her. This was all stuff I've wanted to say for a while, but trying to be sensitive about what happened. Safe to say, Nat didn't talk to me all today. My mom told me Nat called her crying. Neither of us agree with how she's treating the baby, but thinks I was way too insensitive about what she went through. I've been cheated on. I know it hurts, but this has really fed me up. Am I the asshole? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. My comments to my sister during my angry outburst were too insensitive after what she had to deal with. OP not the asshole, and she should have been told this way sooner. This is not a teenager with some jealousy issues. This is a 31-year-old woman. What is she still doing in your house? The only reason you might be the asshole is because you're still letting her stay there. Kick her out. What she is doing to that child is absolutely unacceptable and may have actually crossed the border into abuse. And she makes excuses for her abuse. No, OP. No, she needs to go. Like I said, the only reason why you might be the asshole is because you haven't kicked her out yet. She's gotta go. So that's all I have to say about that. Not the asshole, OP. You should have had your outburst a little sooner. So that's all I have to say. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say down in the comments below, and we're gonna move on to some of the comments from the post. Suitable Cod 1381 says, "Not the asshole, you're absolutely right. She's being hateful towards an infant. That's unhinged. Clearly she's hurting and that's valid, but for her to turn that vitriol towards an innocent baby is sick. And he'll understand what's going on around him far before she's able to communicate back. So she needs to get her stuff together or stay away from him before she does some actual harm. This kid never asked to be born. Good for you for standing up for him." Dry Expression replies to that saying, "I mean, OP is a bit of an asshole for even allowing her around the baby with how hateful she is." Clear Detail 9121 replies to that saying, "I agree, why is she even there? Sister needs to realize it's not the baby's fault. It's not even her sister's fault, and the cheater is dead anyway. Better to move on with her life, forget the dad and love the baby and just her family as a whole. Sheesh, she sounds like the baby. Yes, being cheated on hurts, but she's taking it out on all the wrong people, including a freaking baby. What she needs is a reality check and a therapist, not to be around the actual baby. Not the asshole, though. Took you long enough to call her out." Few Bumblebee 3224 says, "Not the asshole. I can understand the hurt, but a 31-year-old taking it out on a baby? That's messed up. I'd kick her out, honestly." I've been thinking about that all day too. I know it's not a good thing for either of them, and my life is overwhelming enough without also having to deal with her negativity about him. I just didn't want to make the decision to ask her to leave while all angry. Pooh Explosion responds to OP saying, "Honestly, I'm a little worried that she might escalate into physically abusing the baby. The kind of vitriol she's showing is really, really concerning." Selena 385 replies to that saying, "It only takes a few shakes and the damage is done." Ice Cream Appendage replies to that saying, "I think you have to. It's the safest thing for the baby, and he has to be the priority here." OP replies to that saying, "You're right." I Like Seals a Lot says, "Not the asshole. Your sister is entirely out of line, and sooner or later this will affect the nephew. Has she ever been to therapy with this whole situation? Because I think at this point it should be very heavily suggested and eventually be a must if she ever wants to see her nephew again. Even though this is, of course, his mother's decision. She likely never had the chance to really find closure here. And I do have to say that Lori isn't completely innocent here if she remained in a relationship after figuring out he was dating her sister, but this isn't the issue here. Your sister is targeting a child and she is clearly deeply mentally unwell. Taking it out on him is never okay though. While I do feel bad for her, she is bullying an infant with such intense hatred that I would be worried having her around if she gets angry. Kids pick up on a lot. I hope your sister can recover, and that you, your mom, and kiddo will get out of this mess relatively unscathed. And OP's final reply is, everyone has tried to convince her to get therapy, but that hasn't done anything. There's been many sit-downs and talks over it. Alright guys, that was a pretty intense story, so we're going to end it off there. I'd love to hear what you guys have to think of all of our stories down in the comments below. So that's the end of our episode for today. I'd like to thank you all for joining us. I'd also like to ask you to hit that like and subscribe, and that notification bell too if you feel like it. It is a huge help to the channel if you could. Alright guys, I hope you really enjoyed spending your time with us today, and I hope you have a good day. Alright, bye!